I'm in the mood. I'm feeling rude. I'm feeling hot. I want to run. The feeling exciting. So darling, let's do something. I wanna rub my body on your body. Body on your body. Let me rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub and love up. I wanna rub and kiss up. I wanna rub and jam up. I wanna rub and rub up. I wanna rub my body on your body. Rub my body on your body. Let me rub my body. Rub my body on your body. I just get paid. I want to play. The vibes is right. I wanna hug up tight. No time to waste. I wanna work my waist. So come on now, babes. Give me a taste. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. Let me rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub and love up. I wanna rub and kiss up. I wanna rub and jam up. I wanna rub and rub up. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. Let me rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. Pulling on. I'm feeling, 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 I'm feeling.
If you are looking to have your statutory declaration, affidavit of income, identity, damage or lost passport, lost license, tenancy agreement, agreement of settlement, power of attorney, last will and testament, and certification of documents, then you need to visit the Alistair Collins firm, located at the Killian Mall, 162 Lamaha Street, in Georgetown, between Camp and Waterloo Street. Alistair Collins is a commissioner of oaths and a justice of the peace. Make certain you visit him or call for more information at 649-6410 or 685-6448 or 503-1451. And there's adequate parking available. Go down to the Alistair Collins firm and have all of your legal issues settled and brought to the fore. Alistair Collins Firm. Contact them at Alistair Collins Firm.
Let me ask you guys this question. I'll get straight to the point. I'll save the good evening for later on. But tonight is a night You guys should see me. I'm ready to battle this evening. I don't want to use the word fight. I don't want Sharon to come looking and suing me if I say tonight is a night I'm ready to fight. But you guys know when I say the word fight, it sounds better than Sharon, who is my friend, mind you. So I'm not going to say, let's fight. You know, Sharon does his thing and we do our thing here. We wrestle here, right? We wrestle here. We go into the trenches in the mud and we squeeze and we anyways, let me stop it. Good evening to all of you. I'm seeing some of my guests already in the background in the studio. They're laughing. I'm not going to tell you who is smiling, because if I tell you that MP Coretta McDonald is laughing because she knows how we do it out on the quarantine. In the trenches, you battle in the gutter. You say, who is them guys in the gutter fighting them, man? Mark? J.R. Crawford? This is how you are living now, right? Good evening to all of you guys. We have a packed program here this evening, and I just thought that I'd bring the some of the MPs to you guys directly. Usually it is MP Ganesh Mahipal's night, but Ganesh has asked to take some time out. He's asked me to sit in for him, but he will be on the other side of the chair, that is, and I have absolutely no problem with that. He didn't chuck in. He didn't send in his resignation. He just needs some time. He can explain when he gets on. But good evening to all of you guys. We are going to rock and roll. You see those faces? Oh, yeah. Let me see if you recognize all four of them right there. All four of them. Let me see if you guys recognize them whilst you share the link. I don't want to go through the whole list and say good evening, Joan, good evening, Claire, good evening, Sandra, good evening, Lizzie, good evening, GT Root Girl, good evening, Valerie Johnson, good evening, Brenda. I don't want to go through that list, so I'm just going to say good evening to all of you. Let me see. Sandra Brotherson is saying, oh my gosh, long time, never see, only today on Mark's show. I asked for you, welcome back. Oh, people are asking for you, Ganesh. People are asking for you. So let me see. You guys name these four MPs right here. Name them, please. If you name them, you will be given a present for Christmas. You will be given a present for Christmas. Name all four of those MPs. All four of them. Let me see if you guys know who they are. You know your MPs. You guys going to get to know your MPs. You guys are going to get to know your MPs. Charlene, douce et tendre. You know, it's actually French, and I did some home. It's called, your name is actually soft and tender. Oh, yes, soft and tender. We're still waiting for another MP to join us. That is the MP from region number 10, Figueroa. We're waiting for him. Rita Singh, we see you here. Let's see what Rita Singh is saying here. She says, Miss Coretta McDonald, Jai Prashad, Jormin Figueroa, and Ganesh Mahipal. Oh yes, you guys do know your MPs. Let me see whether you know which region, each of those MPs, which region they're representing. Let me see here. Chanel Smith Daniels, you're out of the race. Now, you shouldn't, you're disqualified. You should know all of them. You're out. Let me just disqualify her right away. Thank you. Carl Miller. Let me see what Carl is saying here. Carl is saying Coretta, Ganesh, Figueroa, and Jaipop. Nah, man, you're disqualified. Dinesh Jaiprashad, in case if that's what you want. I don't know which one is him, but you got to tell us here. Which one is Coretta? Which one is Coretta? Let me see if you guys are going to figure that out. Which one is Coretta? All right. Good. Let me see what soft and tender is saying here. Jai Prasad, Jermaine, Coretta, and Ganesh. Okay, good. Coretta, Jai Prasad, Jermaine, and Ganesh. All right. You guys are getting there. You guys are getting there. We already start with complaint. Look, somebody said the only female. Oh, Claudette Clark, the only female. They have more females. Oh, man. Oh, Oh, 4. Good. You guys are ready. All right. So let's get ready to talk with these MPs, the honorable MPs. They're representing Mr. Ganesh Mahipal, region number 3. We have Mr. Jermaine Figueroa. He has not yet joined us here in the studio, but he is region 10. We have MP Pandit Dinesh Jaiprashad. We will hear from him in another 5-10 minutes, but he is with us. He is representing us in region, or the APN UFC coalition in region number 6. And then we have Miss Coretta McDonald. Miss Coretta McDonald. She is also a member of parliament, I believe, for region number 6 as well. So we are ready to rock and roll. Let's see that Ganesh puts his microphone, his camera on. He is not going to. There we go. We're not going to mess around with him tonight. He's not going to say that going on without camera and all these sort of things. It's a packed night, and we have more coming. Ladies and gentlemen, the honorable members of parliament, Ganesh Mahipal and Coretta McDonald. Good evening to you.
Good evening to you, Mark.
Good evening, Mark. Good evening, Coretta. Lovely as usual.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ganesh. And I know you're talking about Coretta. She is indeed always ready, always prepared. I kind of like that necklace. Where did you get it from, Miss McDonald?
I got this from Ghana.
That's the right answer.
What a way to begin. Where do you think I got this from?
Might be Ghana too.
Let's begin with Mr. Mahipal. A lot of people have been asking you for you on the show, and I just told them exactly what it is, but they will be seeing you more as a guest. How have you been, Mr. Mahipal?
Well, Mark, truth be told, you fired me, so they should know that. I am good, Mark. I am good. It's always nice being on your program. I have always enjoyed this platform. In fact, this is one of the platforms that I started off my public life on, and I'm very grateful for that. I have been coping very well, no complaints about that. I had some personal things that I was dealing with, and that is what caused me to be off as a host, and I will still be off as a host because I'm still dealing with some matters that are private and urgent. But I have played around my timings to ensure that I become, or I re-become, if I may use that word, a guest on your program once more.
Yes, and I kind of like you as a guest too. It's not that you haven't done a good job as a host. You did a darn good job, but really good to see you. I've noticed somebody has been minding your business. A young lady by the name of, well, not too young, but Chanel Smith Daniels is saying you took a haircut just to come on this show.
Chanel is my queen. Chanel is my queen.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay, so Miss McDonald, how have you been?
Well, Mark, I am always good. I never really complain about not being good, even though the times are challenging and issues that I've been dealing with and still dealing with, they're quite challenging. But you know what? I draw my strength from every challenge that I encounter. Even when I don't completely win those challenges, I draw strength from them. And that's what keeps me going. Outside of that, there are many, many persons who give me the kind of encouragement every day. Coretta, continue to do what you're doing. Continue to do what you're doing. That keeps me going. And I could never be not good when persons are there giving their support to what I do every day.
Thank you so much. We're joined by the MP for region number 10. They have 2 MPs there. Mr. Figueroa is one. The other one is Mr. Sears, but we have Mr. Jermaine Figueroa this evening. Good evening to you, Mr. MP.
Good evening to you, Mark, and my fellow colleague MPs and your viewing public. Good evening.
All right. Someone has music in the background. I don't know who it is, but if they can just turn that down, I'd appreciate it. Let's get straight into business.
That is gonna be a little difficult, Mark. My neighbor died and they're having wake. So
Okay. That's okay. I
forgive
can
me.
understand. We can understand that, Mr. MP. Thank you, though. Give our condolences to your neighbor. Um, let's begin with Miss Coretta McDonald. You are representing the APNU AFC coalition, the opposition, as a member of parliament for where? Talk about that area a little bit. Maybe take about 2 minutes and talk about some of the problems before we get into some more of the questions. Go ahead.
Well, I'm representing half of North Georgetown. And so that includes Campbellville, one part of Campbellville, all the way in Kitty, Tiger Bay, and those areas, Albertown, and so on. It has been quite challenging to deal with the folks in those areas. I think it's because of the results from the election, the 2020 regional and general elections. Some persons are still in dismay. They're still demoralized. And to couple that loss, the kind of treatment that has been meted out to people, Guyanese in general across this country from this regime, persons are so disappointed, and it's as if they've just thrown hands down. And so it's quite a challenge to lift their morale and to let them understand that there's a better day coming tomorrow. And if we were to put hands together, we'll be able to change things. So that grouping there is my grouping. And outside of my grouping, as a Burbetian, we don't ever forget where we come from. So I spent quite a lot of my time on the quarantine, and everywhere else where our teachers are, I spend time there doing some bit of political work as well as my job as a trade unionist.
All right, good to hear that. Lots of work, lots of hats you do wear. Let us go to Mr. Ganesh Mahipal. Ganesh Mahipal represents the coalition in Region 3. Tell us a little bit about your region, Mr. Mahipal, and what it's like representing the folks in your region.
Well, I think first of all, Coretta missed a very important point to the viewers. She also holds the portfolio as Shadow Minister of Labor. So she has that responsibility also. And I have the responsibility as Shadow Minister of Local Government and Regional Development. So I basically, like Coretta, we are engaged in the business of the entire country, notwithstanding us having geographic responsibilities in our respective areas. I am for the Essequibo Islands, West Demerara, region number 3, and region number 3 is right now in a state of disrepair on the basis of them not understanding what is it that this regime is all about, from their distribution of cash grants, the farmers' assistance, and all the other actions that seems to be duplicitous and seems to be very wicked in its dealing and segregating and dividing our people. The region is very, very upset about the manner in which they are executing these projects, and it is not as though they seem to want to consider it as a project where all of the region, all of the people in the region can be considered. So, on that basis, I will say that Region 3 is very much not happy with the current regime, and they can do something about it, and I trust that they will the next time elections come around.
Well said, Member of Parliament Ganesh Mahipal. Let's go to region number 10, Linden, Ituni, Kokwani, Old England, and other places, other areas out there in region 10. The Honorable Jermaine Figueroa. Mr. Figueroa, talk a little bit about your region and some of the things that are affecting people right now.
Well, Mark, our region, I believe, is one of the most important regions in Guyana. It's considered the heartland region of Guyana because it is basically in the center of Guyana. and you can have access to over 7 regions. Both all of the 3 main rivers flow through Region 10, and it is considered also as the gateway to the interior. So it is a very strategically placed region, and that is why when Linden people in particular decides to stand up and do certain things, the entire country is affected. Business, commerce is affected. So we are well placed, well strategically placed, and everyone knows that this region in particular is a very strong region with regards to supporting the coalition. And as a result of that, this region has been experiencing the blunt and the brutality of the PPP administration. Some some of them are some people who support the PPP. They are experiencing tokenism, and they are victims of that tokenism. So they cannot see the reality of what is really playing out here in the region. A lot of the people are affected. Jobs is a continued issue here in Region 10. The hospitals, COVID is on the rise in this region, and the hospitals don't have the basic resources to help combat the fight against COVID. Even though we are in the region have been doing a lot, there's only so much we can do because we do not control the resources of government to help combat spread of COVID in the region. There are some developmental works being done, but it is not doing to the standard that we would expect. The region, the chairman and his councillors would have presented their budget, and those budget presentations weren't captured in the way that the councillors presented it to the administration to take to the Ministry of Finance. So these are some of our regional challenges that we are experiencing because Region 10 is won by the coalition. And based on the law, it is the elected councillors who are supposed to be planning the budget for the region, for the different figureheads, health, infrastructure, education, and such like. And this is what was done, but this is not what is being reflected as a submission, a total submission of the councillors' budgetary request to the Ministry of Finance. So the challenges are enormous, but we are continuing to stay resolute, and we will, as a people, fight for what is rightfully ours, which is a good life for all Guyanese.
Thank you. Well said, Mr. MP Jermaine Figueroa, representing folks out in region number 10. Linden, Ayuni, I saw somebody mention Kamakazan mines and those other places out there in region 10. Let's get back to region number 3, Member of Parliament, Mr. Ganesh Mahipal. Mr. Mahipal, how do you respond to individuals who are of the view that you guys, MPs, maybe not you personally or any one of you personally, but MPs should be more visible on the ground, etc., etc.? How do you respond to that? And are you guys that visible on the ground?
Mark, I believe that this current cohort of MPs in the APNU AFC are perhaps the most visible we have ever had in the history of our country. I believe our visibility is really a plus because of the youngness of the entire team. And you cannot tell me that you're looking at Coretta and don't see the age 19 there, because I am seeing it. We are energetic, we are vibrant, and we are on the ground. We have had outreaches in regions number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 thus far. We are currently putting together outreaches for regions number 1, 7, 8, and 9. And the reason why we have not touched those regions as yet is because of the COVID pandemic and the numbers that exist in those regions, and also because they are far-flung regions and they require a number of resources in order for us to have a proper and effective visit on the ground with our people. And one has to understand that all 31 of us cannot just be out on the ground. We also have to have the MPs who work behind the scenes in terms of our letter writing, in terms of our press releases, in terms of mobilizing, and a whole host of other behind the scenes work. Your program is not a success because of you, Mark. It is a success because of the technical officers that sit behind the scenes, and people don't really see them, but their work is very much recognized, and it must be commended. And I'm saying that to say to you that all of us, 31 of us, we have strengths and we have weaknesses. And we have to look at these strengths and capitalize on them and take all the opportunities that come with it. We have to examine the weaknesses that we have and mitigate the level of threat it can present to the case, to the team that we have on the ground. We all have strengths and we all have weaknesses. We have recognized our strengths and recognized our weaknesses, and we are using it to our advantage so that we can capitalize on the ground. But I will like to say, the ones who are saying that we are not visible enough, I want to assure you that we will continue to be very, very visible on the ground, and we will continue to work with the citizenry of this country, understand their plight, and make the representation at the highest level, the National Assembly. And as much as we can help as opposition MPs, we will also.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Mahipal. We go over, let's take the time to welcome uh, Pandit Dinesh Jai Prashad, Member of Parliament with us. But before we get to you, good night to you, Pandit.
Thank you. Good night.
Yes, and I know you rushed off from a wake and so forth to be with us to talk to the people, and thank you so much. But before we go back to MP Jai Prashad, same question to you, Miss McDonald. What is your take on when you read on social media and other places, or even some folks on the ground saying that members of parliament for the coalition, the opposition, ought to be more visible, ought to do more? What is your response to that, please?
Mark, the first thing I would want to say to them is yes, I would agree with you that we should be a little more visible. But the thing is, Mark, we have to understand too that even as MPs, most of us, quite a lot of us, have our regular jobs. That is one. Two, we have to so plan our work in terms of how we interact with our citizens. And so many times, like Ganesh said, you might not be able to see some of us who are, and let me put it in these terms, who are in the forefront. You're going to see some of us there. You're going to see Ganesh, you're going to see Coretta, you're going to see Amansa, you're going to see Natasha. But we have the other MPs who are in the background, just like Ganesh said, and they're doing lots and lots of work there. Yes, I'm hearing that they still have their constituencies that they need that they need to visit, and they need to carry out programs and listen to their concerns and so on. But we have been doing quite a lot. And yes, we still have to do even more. But on the other hand, while we are going out there and we're planning these outreaches, and we want to meet and to listen and to hear your issues, and to try to resolve your issues, the hand doesn't clap with only one. We need two hands to clap. And so there are times when we go out into some of these areas, and the people who you really want to see, they're not there. And sometimes those are the persons who have got loads and loads of issues, but because of other reasons, sometimes they term it, they prefer to send you WhatsApp messages rather than coming out, when you have an outreach to meet with you. But I would not deny that we indeed need to be even more visible than we are out there. And we have taken note of quite a lot of the concerns that have been sent to us. And we are planning outreaches. Like Ganesh said, we've not been able to touch a couple of regions, but those regions where it's easy for us to access, we have been doubling up. I can say to you, there are times when we are in Region 3 with Ganesh. There are times when we are in Region 6 with Dinesh and the other MPs there. There are times when we are in Linden. So sometimes I think what happens is that our not only our supporters, but the citizens across this country, they expect maybe to see you there every week or some or every other week. But the thing is, we can't do that. Because there are so many places that we need to touch, and you know how vast Guyana is, and so we really have to. When we go out, sometimes there are places that we visit more than once or more than two times. And that is because the issues there might be graver than issues that we have in other areas. But no doubt, let me admit that indeed we have to be a little more visible out there. Maybe we need to have some of our MPs who are behind the scenes, doing stuff behind the scenes. Maybe those are some of the MPs that they want to have. And like everything else, we don't really go out there to say, well, oh, you know, this MP and that MP and the other MP, they're sitting there trying to put together the press statement, or they're putting together they're planning the strategies, or they're planning the schedules. We don't say that, but maybe those are some of the things we need to say. Well, you know, you're missing MPX today because of ABC. But we've been encouraging all of our MPs to try to be at our outreaches when we have those outreaches. If you notice, we've had MPs going out to dealing with various issues. The shooting of the guy on the East Bank, the shooting of the other one on the East Coast. And when we have issues in schools and around in communities, we've been seeing our MPs have been there. But again, I will say to you that we have already acknowledged the concerns raised by persons, and we are going to make sure that all of our MPs are out there. Even if some of us who are always in the forefront are not there, we are going to ensure that many, many more of our MPs are out there giving the kind of assistance to citizens that citizens do require.
Thank you so much,
Mark,
Ms.
if I
Kochimiga.
may,
You did 1 second. You did say something that was so important. I want to leave that because I want that particular question to be asked for all of you to have a response to it. Before we go to Mr. Jai Prashad, go ahead, Mr. Ganesh.
I want to also make the point that when the leader of the opposition, Joseph Harmon, chose the location for the office of the leader of the opposition, it was with the full consideration of accessibility and easy accessibility to the public. The location is easily accessible by minibus, the cheapest of transportation, which is walking. All of that was taken into consideration, and that is why we are at Crowell Street, just 3 buildings from Camp Street. And that is also necessary for the viewers to know, because if there is anybody that wants to go there and make a complaint or seek an answer to whatever query they may have, MPs are always available there also. So that is another way in which we make ourselves available to the public. Every day an MP is there, and we are during working hours, but our working hours is not 8 to 4:30. We do it from 8 to as late as 6 o'clock in the afternoon, because we do consider the people who come off at 4:30 so that they can have access to the MPs during their own private time. So that's another area that people should know in terms of accessibility to members of parliament. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Mahipal, for that bit of information. Where the office of the opposition leader, where the leader of the opposition's office is located. Mr. Jai Prashad represents region number 6. Briefly, sir, tell us a little bit about your region and maybe 2 or 3 of the problems that people are faced with there.
Thank you very much, my brother. Good night, colleagues. Good night, Barbishan. I see the faces there. Myself, Jermaine, Coretta, and Mark himself, Barbishan. Ganesh, hope you
Let me
join.
correct you. Before Mr. Figueroa does that, he's Linden up to the bone. Don't.
No. Upper there, upper Barbies.
Go ahead, sir.
So, It's a pleasure to be here tonight, and I know that the information given by Honorable Ganesh Maipal and Coretta McDonald very much timely for our viewers, listeners everywhere. I must say that I want to add a few words before I get into the issue in Region 6. I must say that this opposition is taking politics to a different level in Guyana. What we have been doing was never done before. And we must acknowledge that it's a team effort, and all the individuals who have been collaborating with us to help us and guide us to make this movement larger. You know who you are, and special thanks to you. What we have been doing since we were appointed is bringing more to the grassroots people. And this is causing a threat with the other political parties. They are realizing that we are reaching our supporters and their supporters. So that is why you will, see so much of attacks on us and things, ill things being said. But we are getting to them. We are getting to all our viewers, and we are getting to their supporters as well. And that is our purpose. We must continue and bring the facts to the people. With that being said, I must say that Region 6 is a different country by itself. We know Guyana is Guyana, but Region 6 is a little Guyana by itself. We have different politics here. We have different laws here that are a bit different from the other regions. And when I say that, I say that with the fact that things happening to our brothers and sisters in Linden and in Georgetown are not applicable to us in region number 6. We know the diversity and we know the ethnic composition. So when the workplace gate is closed at region number 10 and workers are locked out, that is not happening in region 6. We see some places it is happening now because the pressure is on, and we are exposing what is happening. So, they are trying to cover a little shame to close this place and prevent workers here, there, and everywhere. Also, I must say that in region number 6, we have had issues with our working class people, our public servants, and more so the people who feel the blunt of the taxes in this country. A lot of what we give to this nation are taken from us and given to individuals who are not contributing to the growth and development of this nation. And this is very hurtful. I am saying this because we, who are the taxpayers of this nation, ensure that the roads and the hospitals and the schools and all the infrastructure work are being done with our taxpayers' money. And there are many of our brothers and sisters out there who are earning more than us but are not contributing. So that is a raw deal that is happening with many of us in region number 6. Politically, we need to do more work in region 6 because region 6 is the deciding region as it relates that who will take the election. And I'm saying that APNU AFC need to push a little bit more. We have been covering, but we need to do more. We have failed to increase our vote in the last election in region number 6. As a matter of fact, region 6 is the only region that we dropped almost 2,000 votes. So with these work being set out and these outreaches and programs, we will try to remedy that. And we know that we are on target. We will fix that up. So that's basically with us in region 6. Recently, we have had a situation of flood like region 10 and a lot of mismanagement of taxpayers' money. There are so many allegations that the minister responsible for agriculture are putting up inquiry everywhere because all the people complaining as to what really happened with the flood money. People who never planted receive cash. people who never mind any animal and stock and whatever receive cash, and the people who genuinely need the money, who lost and who need the money, are not getting it. And recently, the $250,000 to double dip sugar workers who received their severance some time ago. We are saying that if you are giving them double dipping, what happened to the other sugar workers who are being, tortured by the sun and the rain, day by day in, day out? What about the promises that were made by the BBB administration prior taking office? What they are doing. So that is the my part for now. As we go on, I will chip in with more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the Honorable Pandit Dinesh Jai Prashad, Member of Parliament for Region Number 6, include New Amsterdam, all the way down to Corriverton, Skeldon, all the little villages and so forth and so on. He is that representative, but they also have some councillors as well. And now let me get back to Ms. Coretta McDonald. You did say that a lot of members of parliament have other jobs. Now, some people might be concerned about that as a member of parliament, they want to have easy access. How much of a problem that is for those MPs, those members of parliament with other jobs? And when do you guys with other jobs find time to actually represent the people whom you have been elected to represent?
All right. Mark, let me speak. I can speak for myself. I can speak for Jermaine. I can speak for five of the teachers that we have there. As a matter of fact, we have 6 teachers who are members of parliament. We still have to be at our places of employment. But the thing is, we have planned our schedules. And so our schedules would fit in, would create that space for us to be able to accommodate those fan out exercises that we do. And if you notice, we've been planning our schedules with regards to fan out exercises. Those have been planned for weekends. So we sometimes start on Friday and then we go through to Sunday, or we do Saturday, Sunday. If there are issues within our constituencies, because we are right there, we deal with them. Outside of that, we have our regular dates when we are at the office of the opposition leader, where we meet with the public. And so sometimes, while it's not too difficult for us as teachers, it might be a little difficult for some of our other members of parliament, our other colleagues who are non-teachers. But like everything else, like I said earlier, we try to make every effort to ensure that we balance the scale with regard to our responsibility as that of a member of parliament and the fulfilling the responsibilities we have within our jobs as professionals.
All right. I was going to pose that question to Mr. Ganesh Mahipal, but he got knocked off. We know the internet sucks, but let's go to Mr. Figueroa. Do you believe, same question, that because of the fact that a lot of the MPs have more than one job and that you guys are not full-time MPs, do you think that may be one of the main reasons why people are not seeing much of you guys often on the ground? Because you have to go to in your case, you're a teacher by profession. You're also a member of parliament. And for example, when you're in the classroom, someone may need your help in Ituni or Kokwani or somewhere there in Linden, but you can't go because you're in the classroom. How much of a problem that is, if at all, from your standpoint?
Mark, you have to unmute me.
Yeah, go ahead. You are on mute.
I am. So, yes, very good question, Mark. And one, like the type of question you pose is not one in which I believe I should be answering for all and sundry. I can only relate that question to me. And if I attempt it, would be as if I'm proffering an excuse for other members. But with regards to me as a teacher, and more so geographical MP, if that scenario that you made mention of happens where someone in Ituni or Kokwani requires my presence, what I do because what I would have done at my school is I speak with my HOD and let her know. Well, they are aware of my additional responsibility. So systems were put in place, and that's what I would have done. So I have an alternate teacher. So if I'm not there, someone can take my class and I leave. Because this responsibility, some may say, takes precedence over my job responsibility, even though it's also extremely important. But the reality is, Mark, I believe, as Ganesh would have indicated, this court of MPs are, in my view, doing far more than the previous court and are far more visible on the ground. I would attribute that to us being somewhat younger and have a lot of more energy and drive. But there will always be room for improvement. There will always be some groupings of people who believe more should be done, and rightfully so. But that is the reality of life. The reality is we cannot satisfy everyone's desire, even though we may attempt to do so. But the job is indeed demanding, and we put our best foot forward. Some may agree with that, some may disagree with that. But in reality, that is what life is about. You can never please everybody all the time. Even though you put your best foot forward, some people will not be pleased. But as the members on our side, I believe we are doing a good job. Do I believe we could do a much better job? Most definitely. But we are short of much needed resources, and a lot of excuses can be put. But I believe we are doing a good job, and with the passage of time, we will improve. And we like programs like this and engaging people so people can come and be straight up with you and say, listen, you need to do X, you need to do Y. My number has never changed.
All right, we've just lost
No, my
Mr.
number. A
Figueroa
lot of
there.
people can't.
Yeah.
So we do much, but I do agree. Um, Sometimes more effort is needed at times.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you guys for being so honest. Let's go straight to Mr. Jai Prashad, and we just got a message from the Honorable MP Ganesh Mahipal. Block out. He didn't
Okay.
block out. It's not like he sensed that it's going to heat up. The questions block out in his area. So he's waiting for the lights to come back on, and if the lights are back on, he's going to
Bring
rejoin
up
us. So
David.
let's go to let us go to Pandit Jai Prashad. You're a
Thank you
Pandit.
very much. Thank you very much.
You're a
Well, you
Pandit.
see, I
One
have
second.
many jobs and I
You're
provide
good.
many services.
You're
So,
a Pandit. One second.
good. So,
1 second,
I'm a
please.
public servant.
Yeah, 1 second. You're a Pandit. You're a lecturer.
Yes, sir.
You're a full-time parent. You're a community leader. And you're
Yes,
also
sir.
a member of parliament.
So true. I'm a senior schools welfare officer as well, sir.
Is there a conflict in terms, for example, when the folks in Blackbush Polder or Skelton or Philip or Alice have problems? How do you manage that when you're caught up with some of your other jobs? Being an
Well, here what
MP,
happened.
representing
Good.
the people.
First, I must say that I'm happy that I am given all these caps that and so far I am managing very well. But for me, in region number 6, we work with some layers of politics. So we have our people at the NDC level, at the various NDCs, who will have to do their groundwork. And we have our RDC people who are at a different level. And then we have the MPs who have a responsibility for a given area. So region number 6, we have 4 MPs who are given responsibility with the various areas, but I am the geographical MP, so I cover the entire region. But 3 other MPs are there to back me up because region number 6 is a big region. So there is an issue at Evershaw. the first person the issue goes to are supposed to go to is the NDC officials there. So somebody from the NDC get the information, they make a call to the RDC counselor or to me, and we direct as to what really, goes. So with the use of technology, we can meet so many people at one time without actually being there. So within 10, 15, 20 minutes, we can set up a meeting and we can do so much. I am saying that if all of us at our various levels pull our weight, we can have a better impact. But sometimes, we have some free riders, and so, which is, we got to back them up and we got to help them, and so that we can make, this thing a more vibrant and effective. So for me, basically, most of my political work are done in the evening and on weekends. Every evening, every afternoon, I'm in a community doing something. If I speak with 5 persons per day, that's big work. Weekend, we do our other things. And I learned that because we have had a disconnect with our locals. That is why we are sitting in opposition seat today, right? So I am saying my job is to ensure that all the party groups get up and running, the regional body comes back on board and is vibrant, so that my work becomes easier. All is not perfect with us in terms of politically, but we are working. And these programs, you affording us the opportunity, other individuals doing programs, selling what is happening, brings more hope to the people in region number 6. So that's
All
my
right,
part.
good. Thank you so much. You guys have heard that. Even though a lot of folks are still saying that they need to see more of the members of parliament on the ground, less in the office, more on the ground. I can see with that. I can see with the people. I identify with them. But I also know that you guys are human beings. I have recognized some of the problems, but I'm not here to talk about that. One of the things that I want to ask, and let's start with Coretta. Coretta, you said that you got your necklace from Ghana. And I know that the area which you're from is very, very strong in terms of African roots. Here is a guy visiting, that's Barajagdi, visiting Ghana. Of course, apart from the many lies told, how do you feel, apart from hearing the lies, how do you feel that this guy who does not treat persons of African descent in Guyana with respect? We have seen the evidence during his 12 years of presidency, plus his extra years as presidency when Donald Ramukhtar was president, and what is happening now under Irfan Ali's administration. How do you feel about him lying and posing up with African leaders there?
Mark, the thing is, this guy has done quite a lot of he has done quite a lot of work, quite a lot of extensive work in terms of how to go about carrying propaganda. Let me say that. He's a master now in terms of making things that are untruth, truth. And sometimes getting quite a lot of people to believe him. He has mastered that art. And so he has no sort of decency, or he doesn't think twice before he says whatever he wants to say. And he is so bold-faced that he has not only gone to Ghana to talk the kinds of crazy things he is saying, but he has taken there with him folks of African descent to give the kind of impression that, hey, don't bother with what people are saying. Look, we are an all-inclusive government. I like everybody. I'm out for Guyanese regardless of what race you're from. I'm out for you. And one of the most disheartening things one could ever go out there to do. Now, Guyana is our country. We belong here. And for you to go to another country to talk down, and I want to make this very simple, to talk down one of your leaders and a leader who's highly regarded in that part of the world, LFS Burnham. And you have taken time off to go there to talk down Burnham rather than to say what you plan to do for the people of Guyana in terms of the relationship you're coming to establish there. Rather than doing that, you go there to talk about elections and rigging of elections. But this guy, like I said, he has mastered that art. And so he doesn't feel any way. It doesn't do anything to him. He opens his mouth and he spills rubbish, and some people would believe him. As a matter of fact, he is now to the folks in Guyana, to the indoor representatives in Guyana. He is now their God. Some of them, because quite a lot of them are quite displeased with what he is doing. But for the few, let me use the term that my colleague used, for those who are mentally lazy, he manages to control them with the race hate and the race hate talk that he carries there. But the whole thing about going to Ghana, this guy has mastered what he wanted to say there, and he doesn't care who talk ill things about him. He goes there to spread one thing, and that is what he is going there to do. And that is why it's very, very important for us to be on programs like these, so that people across the world, they can get a different spin of what is happening in Guyana. They can get a different spin about some of the work that quite a lot of our politicians did, especially the politicians who are from the PNC and the APNU and the AFC, what they have done and what they will continue to do for people. But Barrett Jagdeo is a special breed. And I don't think he would be able to change at this time. But we have got to be able to change the narrative that he's going out there to do by ensuring that we expose all that they are doing, by ensuring that we say to the people, and we keep this going all the time, what is happening, and make comparisons so we can show what happened during the time LFS Burnham was president. When he was prime minister, when he became president, what happened then as against what we went through for 23 years, and what is happening, what happened during the APNU stint as government, and what is happening now. We should be able to project that every time, so that every time Barrett Jagdeo go out there and he spills something, then persons can say, hey, what is happening here? What exactly are you talking about? This doesn't match. But let me say to you and to your viewers, Barrett Jagdeo is a special species. And he doesn't see anything wrong with what he's doing.
Indeed, a special species. He lies a lot. We all know that. But let's go to Mr. Figueroa out there in Lynn, and I can.
Yes, Mark. You're muted. You're muted.
Talking about spread theory and propaganda in Ghana.
Well, Mark, I didn't really get to hear the question because you were the voice broke up a lot there, Mark. But I think you were talking about
basically
in Ghana.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
So yes. Yeah. Well, Coretta would have covered a lot about the issue of propaganda. But one would have assumed that Jagdeo making a visit to Ghana, even though it was to give an impression that yes, you are for all Guyanese, particularly government supports more than half of the population, it happens to be African Guyanese. But he had an opportunity while being in Ghana, a country that is also a newly oil producing nation, to find out from the president how is it that they would have negotiated with the Exxon or the oil companies operating in Ghana to come back and renegotiate the Exxon contract that he promised Guyanese that he would do if he stayed government. He's in government. The contract has not yet been renewed. So what the Guyanese populace, particularly his support base, should understand how deceptive, how deceitful Jagdeo is. Additionally, Ghana is known for producing cocoa. It's one of the world's largest production of cocoa countries in the world. So sugar is failing in Guyana. Billions of dollars are being wasted on sugar. He had an opportunity to engage the Ghanaian officials with regards to cocoa being an alternative crop to be grown in Guyana rather than wasting money on sugar. That could have been a crop that the world would have definitely be interested in to plant. And once he would have garnered that information, he could have come back and retrained those sugar workers on how to plant cocoa. And I think Guyana would have been in a better position to be have a larger foreign revenue from the sale of cocoa. And we could have also probably used the raw material to produce our own chocolate. So there's so much opportunities he could have um, that could have been derived from his visit with taxpayers' money rather than going and spew propaganda, spew lies to no benefit of the country. I don't believe that the Ghanaian will be um, fall prey to his rhetoric because they would hear the other version of it. We're living in a global village. We're living in the day of improved technology, and persons can have an opportunity to visit Guyana from a different location and really have a different view of what is really going on. So Jagdeo definitely has continued to be an embarrassment to Ghana on the world stage, and the persons who are here should be conscious of that. Come next election, do what is required so that they could be ousted out of government.
Well said, Mr. Figueroa. Well said. Let's go to Pandit Jai Prashad. Miss McDonald said something earlier. In my opinion, that's not entirely that is not true at all. But she corrected herself. That's just my opinion. That some of the PPP supporters see Jack Dale as God. Now you're on the quarantine. You're in Region 6. You're in the heart. You're in Port Morant. Lived there all your life. You're a PNC. You're a member of parliament. We know the cane cutters. We know lots of farmers. We know lots of people have serious problems with the PPP. Do you think some of them do see Jack Day as God?
Whatever the leader, or any leader of the PPP say to majority of the Indians, they will bite wholesale. Right, wrong, or in between. I am in Port Morant, I am in Region 6, and I am saying to you, they will be in extreme poverty. And they will take the bread today and eat it today, and tomorrow is another day for another bread. But they will not come out from that level and think rationally, because many officials of the PPP want them in that state. My grandfather worked in the Sugar Estate. My father worked there, but I didn't work there. That is moving out from that lifestyle. My children will not work here because it is a tough work. So we are gearing our young people to move out from the laboring aspect into a more advanced educational, better paying job. I'm saying this to all our sugar workers. You do not want your children to hold a cutlass and see your son with a bundle on his head. If he becomes the manager, that's good. But listen to many officials from the PPP, you will remain in that state of living for the day. So what Sister Coretta indicated, that no matter what Bar Jagdev said, the people are going to say, yes, he correct. Whatever he's dark is true. That is how majority of the PPP supporters will see him and view him. But I see him differently. I want to talk about this visit. Did the Honorable VP made mention to the leaders in Ghana how many Africans, brothers and sisters in this country were sent home? Did he made mention to the leaders in Ghana how many African brothers and sisters receive $250,000 additional pay because they were sent home? So when you go to a nation to talk about Barnum, you must talk about who paying the taxes in this country. Did he say to the leaders there that the taxes that the black people pay in this country are used for all this fancy executive travel and lifestyle? So we must not talk half and leave half. Talk the whole truth. My African brothers and sisters in this country have been feeling the blunt of the taxes since taxes came into being. The PPP enforced more taxes than anybody else. They brought water bill, they brought VAT, and all them other taxes. PPP bring them. And you know who working in the system and paying these taxes more than anybody else? Our African brothers and sisters. But they are not getting the flood relief. They are not getting the duty-free concession for the paddy and the tractor and the combine. They are not getting the free fertilizers. They are not getting the severance and the 250,000. But they continue to give service to this nation. So these are the narrative must be sent to Ghana and all the other African nations so that the people will understand when certain officials come to their country and want to talk half truth, they must, look at them and say, all right, good. We know the whole truth. These are the things a lot of people are annoyed with us because we are bringing out the facts. And bringing out the facts will hurt some feelings. But my job as an MP, a geographical MP, a spade is a spade. I can't say a spade is a spoon. My supporters have been feeling the blunt. My supporters have been feeling the blunt since this PVP took office. And nobody talking about it. We just hope that they can correct it and ensure that people get what they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jai Prashad. Ms. McDonald, I saw a comment earlier, and I wish I can get back to the person. Oh, here it is. MPs, this is from Gary Greenwich. Good evening to you, Mr. Greenwich. Greenwich is saying here, MPs, we love you, but you guys need to put up the ante, turn it up a notch. The PPP has become too comfortable. Do you guys believe that it is time to turn up the notch? Because even PPP supporters are fed up of the PPP.
You start with anybody?
No, Ms. McDonald. Yeah.
All right, Mark. While I agree with the call with the viewer there, with the comment that the viewer has the comment that the viewer laid there, but let me say to us, the 30 MPs that we have, we can't do it all. We want your support, and maybe if you're saying that you're not seeing enough of us in your communities, I'm hoping that when we get into those communities and we give you the kinds of directions that you follow us. The 30 MPs, we can go into parliament and talk from now until next year this time. If this government doesn't want to, and the Speaker of the House, if he's not prepared to listen to what we say, then we can't have it heard there. And what we would normally do is to take our parliament to the streets. And so I would want to say to that very viewer, when we visit your area, or come meet with us, tell us what are some of the things that you want us to do. Tell us some of the things that you can help us to do, so that together we can turn up the music. Let me put it that way. We can turn the music up so that we will make the PPP uncomfortable. I remember Barrett Jagdeo saying just before elections, he was saying to his supporters, especially on the quarantine, he gets a different flair when he goes to Port Morant, when he goes to Babu John. he gets a different flair. And so he was saying to them, when you see the president and the prime minister, any one of the coalition ministers, when you see them, chase them out. Don't listen to them. Maybe we are going to have to tell our supporters and the general Guyanese citizenry, we're going to have to tell them that when they come to your communities to give you a $5,000 or to put a 10,000 or a 19,000 here, chase them out. Tell them you don't want that. Let's talk this story right. And unless you're prepared to talk this story right, we're not prepared to listen to you. And so I'm hoping that our viewers here, they are going to be part of turning that music up so that we would be able to make the with our guidance, we'd be able to make the PPP, the government there, whether installed, elected, however they were placed there, we're going to make them uncomfortable.
That's correct. Mr. And I agree with you 100%. Make them uncomfortable. Mr. Figueroa, do you believe the people of Linden, the people of Region 10, as much as they have been punished by the PPP, not just the seat that this PPP stole in 2006, but I'm talking about present time, punished, not just the 2 or 3,000 jobs that Donald Ramatar promised in 2011 that he never delivered. Instead of delivering 3,000 jobs, they gave the people of Linden 3 caskets. Are you of the view that the people of Region 10 are prepared to say enough is enough with the lies and the propaganda by the PPP and use the same tactics that Jagdeo asked his supporters to use, which is chase them out? Are you guys prepared to chase them out?
Well, Mark, I think you know the answer to that question. Region 10, as country is aware, is the cradle of the revolution. We have the most resolute people, I believe, in this country. And we are always ready to defend our rights. And we, as a coalition, I believe, have not been very good in our PR. PR is not where it should be. And we need to up the ante because the PR will play a pivotal role in mobilizing the masses. Because once the masses are informed more often, and once the MPs are more out there, one of the things that we would have failed to do, Mark, is to basically, because if the people aren't seeing you, then you're not doing anything. And even though some MPs are out there doing a lot of things, they don't take no pictures, they don't do no video, but they're working. So all of these these observations, we have to take it into context and correct those mishaps, correct where we are, wherever we are faulting, so that our base could be more connected to us and our message to the base can get out more frequently, more often. So when we call for our people to come out, that is exactly what they will do because they understand what the call is for. But Region 10 has always been ever ready to fight, to defend for their rights, and we are always prepared to do so, and we will continue to do so. But I mean, you as a journalist understand our shortcomings. You would have talked about it on many occasions, but it is just for us as a collective to put all of these dots and I's and cross the T's, and I believe we'll be a very effective, far more effective opposition, and then the people will definitely do what is required to oust this administration. So definitely, I agree with that. We must
Well
up the
said.
ante.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I agree with you. We must up the ante, but there are certain things that needs to be done, and I believe in a few months from now, that is exactly what will be done
A
in
few
the very
months.
near
Hopefully
future.
it's done. Hopefully it's done within a few days or a few weeks. But
But the
of the
reality,
ante in
listen,
terms of
Mark,
the PR as
I
well. Yeah.
Mark, I wish if it could be done tomorrow. The
Or
reality
tonight.
is, or whenever, the sooner the better. But the
Yeah.
reality is, a lot of the supporters are waiting for the PNC to get its act together. And I believe the Congress that is soon to happen will be a giant step in the right direction. And when that is done, I trust that all the forces will put a full stop to
the outcome of the election, and mobilize together as a united force, and see the PPP as what should the bullseye should be the PPP, and that should be our ultimate target. And I believe that is exactly what will happen
And I do hope that
in the
that
near future.
happens. So, it brings me back to when Mr. Corbyn became the leader of the PNCR. People were excited. People were saying, "Oh yes, we were waiting for this moment." I don't want to talk about the disappointments. And then the coalition, we saw a lot of soldiers, army men, and say, "Yes, this is it. Them soldiers got to deal with them. Them army men got to deal with them." Anyways, now let me get to Mr. Jai Prashad. This is not hitting at those army men in the coalition or in Guyana. Good evening to all of you guys, sir. Now, Mr. Jai Prashad, let us say if local government elections, we know it is due, but we know that the PPP has a history of not wanting to hold local government elections. Kudos to the APNU AFC coalition. 2 local government elections were held during the 5 years. But 20-something years, the PPP failed to hold local government elections. Now, they don't want to hold local government elections now. But were local government elections to be held at the end of this year, do you think that the coalition will do well at the polls?
Mark, local government election is constitutionally due every 3 years. And 23 years, the BBB had 1. And we had 2 in 5. So you see the difference in democracy. 23-1, 5-2 in 5. So you see who is more inclined to give the people power in their hand to manage and to run their community. APNU AFC brought local government election, local government democracy back to this country. 2 local government election in 5 years. Good. If we are to have, it will be difficult to have local government election December. We got to fix the list. We got to fix everything. We're not taking on stupidness now, Everything got to come right and got to come in order. No election running without things getting fixed. That is one. But if or whenever there is a local government election, there will be a lot of upset. People have had enough for a year already. The promises, the incompleteness of this government is filtering down on the many individuals everywhere, all the regions, their supporters, our supporters, everybody feeling the pressure. So the promise about the sugar industry is incomplete. The promise about the 50,000 job, incomplete. The promise about the 50,000 house lots, incomplete. Pay increase to public servant, incomplete. So these guys have incomplete ideas. They can't focus on complete one thing. COVID cash grant, incomplete. People still got pink slip. So many incomplete things happening within a year. The people are getting fed up. In my NDC, Poperant, I was the only one to manage to have 1 seat, opposition seat, since local government came into being in 1980. And that happened in 2016. And the people in the village already complaining that we need a new set of people to run and manage Poperant NDC. And this is the heart of the PPP. So I'm saying to them, you guys don't want me. I am APNU PNC. You don't want me. But find a good PPP man to run the thing. We don't know none of them. So they are saying to me that this family get COVID relief and he don't plant nothing, and that one take out somebody's name and put somebody. So they are exposing themselves. We want the local government election to come because all these baggages that these guys have, we're going to expose it. So, we're going to say to the people, you got a right to choose who you want to run your NDC and your local government municipality and township and whatever. So we welcome local government. We know that in certain NDC, the PPP will have majority. but we will infiltrate. We will have a seat. We will have 2 seats. We will have 5 seats, and we will get things going. That's my take.
All right. Well said. We're going a little bit over time here tonight. We asked the MPs them for just a few minutes more of their time. Ms. McDonald, back to you. And I want to whisper this question because some folks are of the opinion out there that maybe part of the problem within the coalition and maybe the leadership is that there's too much and division amongst you guys internally. Is that accurate?
Mark, let me say to you, in any organization, even in your own homes, you usually have a breakaway here, a breakaway there. But at the end of the day, you know exactly what you want to gain. You know what your objective is. And it's no different in the coalition. It's no different in the PNC. Like everything else, you know, when we're nearing Congress or when we're nearing to an elections, what usually happens? You usually have the fractions here and the fractions there because I'm supporting this candidate, you're supporting that candidate, and we'll have that kind of fiery flare going on. But the most important thing is we know exactly where we are. Let me don't be an ostrich to say to you and to your viewers that we have not had problems in the PNC, or we're not having problems within the PNC camp, or we're not having problems within the coalition camp. We are, but the whole the big picture is how we resolve those issues. Most of the issues that we're having within the PNC, it's about leadership, where we are, where we want to go, who want this person to be leader, who think this person shouldn't be leader. Those are some of the kinds of things we're having. But like everything else, there is a process that will resolve that. But as it is right now, we know exactly what we are doing. We know that the PNC, we know that the coalition, we are in opposition, and our responsibility as opposition is to expose and to dispose. And that's what we are doing. While you are going to have the little fragments here and there, the big picture is still there that every single member is seeing, and every member is hoping that we get there as a complete and united body, that we get there. But yes, there are some issues. There are some issues with regards to leadership styles. And like everything else, we have learned that leadership, there are different types of leadership. And that is why we always have a team of people. So when you come with one style of management, there are other persons who would complement you with the different styles of management or leadership. And that's where we have the compromises and we move forward as a unit.
Thank you, Ms. Curtin McDonald. Well said. Appreciate your honesty. Let us go to Yep. Sorry, someone said something.
Yes. Do you mind if I give my bits and pieces on that?
Sure, Mr. MP. Go ahead.
I must say that I am happy that I am part of the PNC. The PNC is not just a party; it's a new movement. Not a new movement. It's a movement that takes under the umbrella many individuals from different walks of life. Once we are dealing with people and human beings, we will have dynamics. We will have different ideas and ideologies. But at the end of the day, all our leaders are there to make PNCR stronger. We have some issues and we will work it out. And all the individuals who are and who will be contesting and who will be, having their campaign, and so all individuals will work for the betterment of our party. Look at what is happening in the United States and other countries. You got to fight to the death for the leadership. You got to go to you understand? But at the end of the day, we will know our target is to elect a leader. and work with that. Um, I must say that we have something called democracy in the party, and we give liberation to so many things. We are not a party that one man sits at the table and say, "You're gonna be presidential candidate, and you shut up and you do this and you do that." No. If you recall, David Granger had 5 years and he never put out a reporter, He never tell a reporter, get out from the newsroom or get out from the conference. No. Other leaders put out reporters. We as a party have more ideas. That is why, we get some issues. You know, we talk a lot. We discuss things a lot, right? We express ourselves more because we have uh, the ability to discuss and compromise. So a lot of individuals seeing a discussion on an issue as we fighting, and yes, we are discussing issues. But at the end of the day, when we settle whatever we have, we will be stronger to take Guyana to a next level. So, a lot of people have many comments, but I am saying all of our leaders have the interests of the people and the PNC at heart. We will have a leader. We have a leader now. But after Congress, we do not know who will be the leader. Whosoever becomes the leader will take the interests of the party and our Guyanese people forward. That's my take.
A lot of people, before we go to MP Figueroa, a lot of people, you did say during one of the interviews I've had with you, Pandey Jai Prashad, that you were born into a PPP home in the heart of Port Morant, a PPP stronghold area.
No, I'm born in a PNC home, in the PPP stronghold.
Sorry, PNC, sorry. A PNC. A PNC. So you're born PNC.
Correct.
In a PPP stronghold. That is what I meant, Honorable Jai Prashad. Let's go to the Honorable MP Figueroa. I want to show you this, Mr. Figueroa. What is your take when you see people say boots on the ground? Boots on the ground. And that they're not seeing much boots on the ground. What is your take, sir?
Well, before I answer that question, I want to agree with Dinesh that local government election is important because we all would agree that all politics is local. But we will not participate in any local government election or national election until the list is cleansed, until the list is sanitized, until there is a new voters list that is a reflection of house to house registration, the continuation of house to house registration. And additionally, I must say every grouping where there are differences of people, differences of ideas, they will have some form of conflict, some form of friction. The leadership issue in the coalition or the PNC is not dissimilar to what is presently happening in the PPP. Anil, for example, believes he's the best thing since sliced bread and he should have been the presidential candidate and more so the president. Ejil believes that he should have been the prime ministerial candidate. So there's a lot of conflict going on. There's a leadership deficit in the PPP. That is why we have all of these issues every single day. That is why you have content, Mark, every single day to talk about when you come on your program because there's a leadership deficit in the PPP administration. Leadership should have said to the PPP administration that with the distribution of taxpayers' money to farmers, all farmers affected should have been given a disbursement. African farmers who have been discriminated should have been given monies that taxpayers have put towards this distribution. So the whole issue of leadership, yes, we have to fix it, but it happens on both sides of the divide. Boots on the ground is a representation of a call by the coalition supporters to go out in the streets and demonstrate whenever certain things are affecting them. And we know those are many. So the idea primarily is to have a unison of our support base to go on the ground. And I believe that after Congress comes to an end, this is really something that we really need to get past over with quick so we can refocus and redouble our efforts in ousting the PVP administration. And when that is done, I believe we will have a focus and a, a, a real coming together of all of our supporters of all of our bases together. And when we say boots on the ground, it will be a true reflection of unity of purpose. And that is what we are aiming for in the APHAMC coalition.
Well said. I just have two more questions because our operator Lemon is looking at me, is messaging me. Someone asked, "Where is Ganesh?" Like his neighbors changed the Wi-Fi password. The people are always
That is the poor leadership of the PVP. The carbon fix GPL. That's why Ghana should be dropped out.
exactly,
Bring back
exactly.
David Patterson.
Poor leadership of the PPP. They cannot govern. But here is one of the my second to last question to you guys. How much important is this right now? We are hearing about a date. PNCR Congress reportedly set for December 11th. Nominations for the 11th of November. Let us go to Ms. Bertha McDonald first. How important is this? The Congress to be held, the voting in new leadership or leadership across the board from top to bottom. How important is that in order to move the party or the movement forward?
Well, Mark, let me say to you and to our viewers, we don't need to have a Congress to move the party. We don't need to have a Congress to spike our supporters up. And we don't need to have a Congress to change what is happening in our country. We don't need to have a Congress to do that. As a matter of fact, every single member on the Central Executive, including the MPs, inclusive of our RDC reps and our NDC reps, and every single one, we should be doing what we have to do outside of a Congress to ensure that the PPP are made uncomfortable. But having said that, the Congress is important. It is a part of ensuring that the organization functions the way it ought to function. And so while we are looking forward to having a Congress, in light of what is happening with COVID and the deaths and the amount of increased cases and so on, one needs to be very, very careful in terms of planning Congress and the date that is being, quote unquote, set for Congress. I want to echo this call that while Congress is important, we need to ensure that our delegates are safe, because we don't want to go into a Congress and then 2 days after, 8, 10, 12, 15, more than that of our members, our supporters, our the backbone of the party, they come down with COVID and then, God forbid, persons die. We need to ensure that wherever the venue is going to be and whatever other venues we are going to be using, that we observe every single protocol in terms of safety for our members. And so, yes, coming out of Congress, we are going to be coming out with new mandates. We are going to be coming out with a new leader, and we expect that the new exec core that they would have already have in their minds what exactly and where they want to take this party. But again, while Congress is important, we don't need to have a Congress to do the things that we ought to do, because every day, as a matter of fact, there's a mandate that has been given to every single one of us who are leaders within our own right. And so because of that mandate, you don't need to have a Congress to do what you have to do, and to ensure that our supporters are continued to be reassured, to ensure that our supporters, their issues are resolved, to ensure that our supporters stop suffering. We don't need to have a Congress to do that. This is what we should be doing every single day.
All right, well said. I want a yes or no response from you, with all due respect, Madam MP. Congress will be held sometime the first week of December. Nominations Day is the
Hopefully.
11th. Nominations Day is the 11th. Were you to be nominated for any position? Leadership, leader, chairman, vice chair, whatever other positions you're nominated, will you accept any nomination?
Mark, I would accept nominations that are within my reach. I want to be honest here. If I were to be nominated for the leadership of the party, I would decline that. And you know why I would decline that? I would decline that because I have not been actively involved at that level of the party to be able to take the party forward. While I'm going to get some person saying, but you are a leader already, you've been in administration, you know what it is. You have to be so embedded to want to go out there. And I'm not the kind of person who want to be on the front page, who want to be in a front seat. I want to to put myself in a position where I can function effectively. So I would decline that position. If I were to be given nominated for the position of General Secretary, I would decline that position too, because that's a very heavy responsibility and you have to be so embedded to be able to function there. But with regards to some other positions, if I were to be nominated for those positions, yes, I'll accept them. But one needs to be honest with himself or herself to know what your limitations are, and where you can function effectively and and accept nominations for those positions. This is not a front page thing. This is not about like the folks in the streets would say, this is not about going there and bigging up yourself or gallivanting yourself. This is about going there for serious business. And that's what we should be thinking about. The interest not only of the party, but the interest of the Guyanese people every single way across this country.
Well said. Well said. If I were close to you, I would have given you a handshake. A handshake. Handshake. You shaking Mark's hand. Good. There we go. Now, same question to you, Mr. Jai Prashad. The leadership is around the corner. It's a good thing. Social distancing is a must, right? COVID-19 is real. But were you to be nominated for any position, what would you accept?
Mark, it will be an honor for me, but not now. I am not in the leadership capacity and the political know-how to take leadership of this movement at this time. As I advance with age and political maturity, definitely I will give it a shot later on. But at the moment now, I'm just 42. So I do not want to, take that huge responsibility in the upper bracket of the PNCR. But I must say that we have a good leader of the party at the moment. And all this work that we are doing that is typically different from what was done before are brainchild of what is happening at the leadership of the PNCR. And those individuals that you post up there, all four of them, they have been contributing to making us doing what we are doing. So I'm saying that the PNC is a good party. We are very well grounded. We will deal with this leadership issue, and we will go to Congress whenever it is safe. I do not know when, but whenever it is safe for us to go. It is not an issue that, tomorrow will be election, general election, that we got to find a presidential candidate or a prime ministerial candidate, or, we can work things out. And I'm saying with more teaching and training within the party, in a few years' time, I will be giving myself a shot so that I can help to contribute to the growth and development of the PNCR.
Well said. And when that time comes and you're nominated, trust me, I will be supporting you right here on 107.1 FM
Thank you very
both yourself, Curtin McDonald, and you, Jai Prashad, as well. But now I'm a little bit disappointed that you guys now put Mr. Figueroa in a bad spot. Suppose Mr. Figueroa said if he were to be nominated for the leadership that he continued now, that he can accept that. But let us hear from you, Mr. Figueroa. Same question. Were you to be nominated, whatever position, leadership, vice chairman, whatever, what will you accept?
Mark, you can't determine what's a good spot or a bad spot. Your
I'm just
question
pulling your
is
leg,
put.
Mr. Go ahead.
No, listen. All of the leaders that you would have put just now up on your collage brings experience, brings um, different know-how that is required to push the PNC forward. And I hear my comrade Coretta Magdano with regards to uh, the dreadfulness of COVID and hosting a Congress. But the party has a lot of doctors, a lot of persons with the know-how, all of the questions that are of great concern to the safety of our comrades were put, and the Congress committee accepted all of those questions and those suggestions to ensure that whenever the Congress is called, safety is paramount because we do not want to put our members at risk. But the world is moving on with the reality of COVID. We have seen stadiums, basketball stadiums with thousands of people, football stadiums, cricket stadiums presently going on in a COVID environment. So we will adhere to the COVID protocols and also put our ideas and suggestions that we would have brought to the national task force if we were invited to come. And we will ensure that safety is of the utmost priority whenever the Congress is called. I honestly believe that there is need for the Congress to come and to end so that we could refocus our attention on what is most important. And I believe that is to get rid of the PBP administration and bring some semblance of order, some semblance of unity and oneness to Guyana. And I believe the coalition has what it takes to do that for us. So the question of if I am nominated, I'm already in a leadership position. And if my comrades see me possessing whatever quality that is required to nominate me for a position, and if I am comfortable with it, then I'll make that determination whenever that time presents itself. But for now, I am more focused on doing what I have to do with my present position, serving the
All
people
right.
of my region
Thank
and
you so
Guyana.
Thank you so much, Mr. MP. We've really got to go. I give you guys 1 minute each or a minute and a half each, please, for your closing remarks. We'll start with Pandit Jai Prashad, Member of Parliament. Closing remarks in terms of trying to bring back the support base of the coalition. Some folks who might be disappointed. What message do you have to leave them with this evening in order to bring them back?
Thank you very much, Mark, viewers, and the 107.1 family. Do not lose hope. The PNC will deliver us from what is happening in Guyana right now. PNC is the solution. We know what happened under David Granger administration, and we know how people had a peaceful life for 5 years. All the ills that happened prior 2015 were reduced. We were a bit comfortable. We were a bit safe. The health facilities, the security sector, we were a developing nation. We are on the path of, going forward. The PNC will do that again. APNU, AFC will do that again for you. I bring a message of hope to you, and I want you to organize yourselves at the grassroots level. Get your membership forms, form your groups, select your delegates and candidates, and so work that out. The regional administration, get to your various villages, start to mobilize our people, get them registered. get the membership going. Only then we can be able to have good, better, and the best leaders for our party. Do not lose hope. We will be back to help all of us because we see what happened. APNU AFC has been a government for all the people, and we will continue to do that. We have had some mistakes. I must admit that we have had some mistakes, but we are learning from that. We will correct it in the future, and we will continue to make Guyana a better place for all of us, not for one set of people, for all of us. God bless us. God bless the PNC. Thank you very much, Mark.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. Jermaine Figueroa, Mr. MP, same question to you. Sorry, your closing remarks along the same line for a minute and a half, please. Go ahead.
Oh, well, Mark, I want to say thank you once again for affording me this opportunity. I mean, you continue to do an exemplary work, even when you give us some starting criticism, but it is welcome. It helps us to be better. Um, the Guyanese populace have 1 year of the PPP, and they can make if they desire to make an honest assessment of the coalition compared to the PPP, they would understand that the coalition is better for Guyana. They would. On both sides of the divide, if they are to make an honest assessment, they would agree that the coalition is better for Guyana. The coalition supporters, I say to you, we would have made mistakes while we were in government. There's no excuse. We accept that, but no government is perfect in the same light. Those some of the mistakes that were made should not have been made, but the fact of the matter is it was. And we believe moving forward, many would have learned from those mistakes, and I don't believe those mistakes will repeat itself. But more Guyanese, especially those in the diaspora, had the desire to come home and live. Now, presently, we have Guyanese whom want to go and live abroad. They don't see no future here. They don't feel safe. Police officers are far more polite. They were far more professional in the execution of their duties and responsibilities. Taxpayers felt as if they were gaining under the coalition. So we believe, and infrastructure work was done all across Ghana. Should more have been done in certain communities like Linden? Most definitely. But I believe, with all of that said, that the coalition holds a greater promise for unifying the country and where persons can feel to be free, irrespective of their religious persuasion, irrespective of their geographical location or their ethnicity. That is what I believe the coalition brought to Ghana, and I believe that is what we will bring going forward in the near future. So we are saying, and I am joining my colleague Ganesh to say, there's hope in the coalition, and we want you to be ever ready to support us in our undertaking. And we will definitely ensure that boots is on the ground, and we need your boots as well, so that we could kick the PPP out of power and bring Guyana back to a place where all of us can be proud of. Thank you.
Well said, Mr. Figueroa. Let me take this opportunity on behalf of all the people who are listening, who are watching as well, to extend condolences to those folks who have died recently, especially the principal of Mackenzie High School. Now, with that said, now I'll give Ms. Coretta McDonald. I know I gave you guys a minute and a half each. Ms. McDonald gets 2 minutes for her closing. Allow me to
Thank you, Mark. Let me say thanks for having me on your program. It's always a pleasure to be here to share with our viewers, with our supporters, non-supporters, and persons across the diaspora what is happening in Guyana and what we are doing and what we expect to continue to do with their support. I just want to say to us, I want to read this little quote that says, strength grows in the moments when you think you can't go on, but keep going on anyhow. And I want to say to our supporters, I know how you feel. We know how you feel at this time. But let me remind you, The coalition is not just a coalition, it's an institution. And it's an institution that is well grounded. We don't see race, we see Guyanese people. We see the good life for everyone. And with your help, we can regain where we were in 2015 through 2020 so that you can be given the good life. We have seen in the last year, just after um, August 2nd, well, stemming from March when we recognized that we had COVID, and let me talk about that. From 20 deaths, we have seen us going right now to, I think we're at 800 and something deaths right now, almost to 900. And it shows clearly that this regime, they can't manage what is happening with regards to the health of the people. When we talk about education, that's another big bomb where we have seen the manner with which our education, the education sector is taking that nosedive and it's going there pretty quickly. We have seen in terms of what is happening in the security sector. So many people have lost, so many citizens have lost their lives. Robberies, we have seen that all over the place. Just last Friday, I think it was, or might have been Thursday, a 19-year-old was stabbed to death while his chain was taken away from him and other valuables. We have seen outside of the security, we have seen fires here, there, and everywhere. And let's not get there because we know how far we can go. But these are just some of the issues I wanted to highlight to you, to say to you, in the last 5 years under the coalition, we would have had some robberies here and there, but these major issues, we never had these under the coalition. Don't lose hope. When you think that your strength is going, just keep holding on. Just remember what transpired during 2015 to 2020 before August 2nd, and let's all purpose in our hearts that we want to live here as a people, and you can only live here as one people, one nation with one destiny under the coalition government. We are doing everything that we have to do to ensure that our people are safe, that our people can live that good life. And with your energies and your strength and your boots on the ground, together we'll be able to march and we'll be able to put them out and to put the PPP right back where they ought to be, right in opposition for quite a long time, so that Guyana can bloom to her fullest and allow our people to live and to be respected, not only in Guyana, but across the Caribbean and in the diaspora. Thank you again.
Well said, MP Coretta McDonald. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, MP Figueroa and MP Jai Prashad. Continue to do some work out there in your respective regions. People want to see more. People understand that you guys are human beings. Yes, people understand because of how the system is set up, that you guys are not just full-time MPs, you have other jobs as well. Maybe sometime in the very near future that will change. But for now, the system is what it is. But what people want to see is more of you guys. For example, Mr. Figueroa, they want to see more of you and your colleague, the other MP, and other representatives to the region going about the place. They need to see photographs, they need to see videos. You know, you mentioned that the PR kind of sucks. Yes, or not sucks, but more can be done. Do more with your PR in Region 10. Do more with your PR, Ms. McDonald. Do more with your PR, Mr. Jai Prashad, and you will see the difference in how people see you guys, how your supporters see you guys, and it will help to heal and build the party and the coalition, make it stronger. Thank you all so much. And again, nice necklace, Miss McDonald. Have a great night, guys.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, welcome. All right, so we're looking at the time. We've got to go. But before I go, I want to, there's something that I want to quickly bring to your attention. Now that we have them out of the way, I want to talk a little name, right? They were excellent. in talking. They were honest. They were straightforward. They said that there are some problems within. Any organization would have problems and so forth. And I'm glad that they came on. But yes, we want to see more of them, more of their colleagues on the ground, meeting the people, talking to the people, and all these things, not just on social media, on the ground. And I believe those our guests, our guests, I believe that they will hit the ground even more. Kudos to those who are working. All of them are not going to be painted with the same brush, at least not by us here on 107.1 FM. But let me quickly go here. They are going to be having their Congress hopefully by December 11th. Nominations Day is the 11th of November. That is when we are going to hear who actually are the candidates, who want to run for the leadership of the PNC. Let me say this point blank to you guys. I cannot run for the leadership of the PNC because I'm not a member of the PNC. And if you are not a member of the PNC, it simply means on Congress Day, you cannot vote. Story done. It's only if you have a membership card, if you're a paid member for 1 year or more, that is when you can go and vote on Congress Day. All right, so the race is not on social media as to who is going to win. The race is going to be there on Congress Day. Now, so far we are hearing three candidates. Look who. Mr. Van West Charles is one. Mr. Aubrey Norton is another. Then tomorrow, the leader of the opposition, Joseph Harmon, will launch his campaign to contest for the leadership of the PNCR. The leadership of the PNCR. I want to see more people get in the race. Don't ask me who am I going to choose. I don't know yet. I just don't know yet. It could be one of the three. It could be somebody else who may join the race. I just don't know yet. I need to hear more from them. That's all I wish to say at this point in time. But for now, thank you all for tuning in this evening. I love you. God bless you. And have a great rest of the night. Until tomorrow, same place, same time.
It's hard to be at peace with the ones who are so discard. It's hard. Them have a knife in your back and them smile it so broad. Help me to deal with the ones them who said them love me when them really don't. Help me to deal with the fans them kill me flesh when the crowd are shout. Jesus, help me on the battlefield. Jesus, help me on the battlefield. Help me on the battlefield. Got the booby traps with them set is real. I never want to take your glory, Lord. Send your angels to encamp around about me and stand guard. To envy is so easy and to love it is so hard. Let me work for your glory and not for the award. Don't make me ever get caught up in the scream and the applause. And go talk about the blessing and not talk about the Lord. All these things are vanity. I need your reward. Let me be real. Don't put on no facade. Help me to deal with the ones them who said them love me when them really don't. Help me to deal with the fans them